What's up, Spartan Nation? Thanks for tuning in to episode 9 of Grind to Shine, a season with Alexander football. I'm Patrick Klinger alongside Nathan Wiseman. Nathan, let's get right down to it. You know, this week had a much different feel than most.
Yeah, that's because the Spartans are stepping out of the TVC Ohio this week to take on their Hawking rival, the Trimble Tomcats. And Pat, I'm sure they're looking to improve on a performance that they're probably trying to forget from last week. So speaking of that, let's take a look back at those Week 8 highlights against Nelsonville-York.
Take a look at the fancy all-white unis playing on turf this week at Boston Field, but hey, let's get to the real action on the field. NY with the ball on their second play of the game. Just give the ball to Keegan Wilburn. He's gone for a 47-yard touchdown. Gets past some Alexander corners, giving the Buckeyes the early 7-0 lead in this one. And then on the ensuing kickoff, freshman Caleb Easy has so much speed, getting open and gets around to about the 50-yard line there.
Yeah, same drive, 3rd and 10. A.J. Marks drops back, finds his man Connor Kimbrough for the first down. However, that drive would stall. And on Nelsonville-York's next possession, the third play of the drive, Hunter Edwards is going to break some tackles, and he's going to end up switching field here, and he's going all the way to the end zone. 27 yards for the score, putting the Buckeyes up 14-0 early on. And let's fast forward, 3.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Hunter Edwards back at it again, swing pass out to his man Garrett Maiden. He's going to make one guy miss, and he's headed straight for pay dirt. 21-0, really putting the Spartans on their heels early.
Yeah, same story as last week. Alexander gets down early big, but here Alex Penrod keeping his troops alive, trying to get the guys motivated, but Chase Harris trying to do too much here. Tosses the ball up in the air, but Jonathan Richards is the one that comes down with it. NY would actually go into halftime up 42-0 on the Spartans. Ethan Howes trying to mentor the guys, getting them ready for the second half, and they came out with a little bit of fire. Chase Harrison, a nice pass to Stone Markins here, but then they would just have some troubles resting.
Yeah, just too much Buckeye defense. A.J. Marks just going to get sacked here. The story of the night, Spartans just can't move the football. And on the next possession, Nelsonville-York's going to capitalize. Alex Mount was running all over this defense all night long, and he's going for 68 yards here. They would tack on a touchdown. The Buckeyes are going home with a victory, 63-0.
All right, Coach, so I'll start off on a little bit of a fun note. In the pregame warm-ups, I always see you with the silver beads around your neck. What kind of music are you listening to get yourself pumped up for the game?
Kings of Leon, without a doubt. So it's what I always rock with. It's what I fall asleep with either before the game at home games or we're on road trips on the school bus. And they just dropped a new album on Friday, so that's what made it exciting too.
No Long Live the Chief, Suicide Squad soundtrack like the guys?
No Taylor Swift, what some of our kids like to listen to. None of our remix stuff, something little more mellow and whatnot, but then they can rock out once you get that wake up going on. So it's definitely my go-to.
Let's talk about Brad McCollister for a minute. We put him on the spotlight after the game the other night. He talked about how cool it was to be on the varsity team this week. He was the honorary captain. For the fans that don't know him very well, what can we expect out of him? What are you seeing?
One big thing, just being a freshman and just to see how far he's matured, not only as a football player, but as a student too, because we had a lot of talks last year just about academics and trying to get focus and restructured within the classroom part of his life. And he's made tremendous strides just as far as there as being a student. And then when you see him on Friday nights getting the inside linebacker starts the last couple of weeks and kind of be thrown into the fire for the most part because he comes from playing junior varsity and having a good year there. But really it just comes down to watching him in practice and just see how hard he does play and does all the little things that we want, and that's why he's having some success there on Friday nights.
And another young guy we caught up with after the game was Tyler Rice, and he was talking about the energy of the team, and he gave credit to guys like Gabe Stitt and Colton Pay for never getting down, for always having that fire to them. Do you think the team needs more spirit like those guys have when the team gets down?
Without a doubt, and we talked after the game on Friday those guys are always electric on the sideline. Sometimes you want to be a little bit more quiet just so you can stay focused, but they're doing all the things that we ask for, and that's being engaged in the football game if you're in or out. So they're doing a tremendous thing with there. Then Tyler Rice is another freshman that's been thrown into there the last couple of weeks, and he's just one of those energy and effort type guys. He's young, obviously, but he has a lot of intangibles that he does bring to us on the football field.
And we all know that with the injuries this year, the team is pretty young, but we got a fan submitted question this week. Penny Stout wants to know, with 2 weeks left, how do you plan on maybe incorporate incorporating some more younger guys into the rotation?
I think with what we did last week and really just the preparation of the game plan, we have 3 freshmen that really helped develop our game plan and our scouting report and how we want to execute on Friday. So again, we're going to continue that for the next 2 weeks and continue to just throw our young guys in during the week at practice, whether it's scout team, but more importantly, we're getting more young guys there on some first team reps in practice. Doesn't always translate on the Fridays, but they're getting that true first team experience and really going against some older type kids in practice simulations. But it's one of those things, if their number's called, we expect them to be ready, and so far they've been ready.
It's week 9, so this is my last Penrod's place. It's hard to believe, time flies. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you were my first interview I ever did my senior year of high school when I started to take journalism more seriously. So just wanted to thank you here for letting us tell your story this season and for always giving us an interview. We appreciate it.
Most definitely, Nathan. It just seems like yesterday we were doing interviews there at Guy Academy High School, whether we were in the hallway, we're in the locker room trying to find that quiet place. And about, probably 6 months ago, we had a little sit down here and go to the dining room table and talk about just an idea, and look what it's turned into. It's been very special. It's been a tremendous experience, not only for me and for you, but most importantly, our young men.
All right, Spartan fans, I'm sure you've heard, but there's a big matchup going down in Gloucester this week as the Alexander Spartans travel to take on the Trimble Tomcats in a non-conference matchup. Now, Nathan, no pun intended here, but Trimble is red hot right now. You know, they're 6-2 on the season, coming into this game with a 4-game winning streak, and their confidence is at an all-time high right now after a 34-0 beatdown over Eastern.
Yeah, that's right. And as you know, playing in Gloucester is never an easy task, and the Spartans, they haven't even won a road game all season long. Meanwhile, Trimble, they're 2-1 at home, and Pat, in those 2 home games that they did win, they outscored their opponents by over 40 points. So these guys play well at home, so Alexander's really going to need to be focused on the road.
Yeah, and looking forward to these 3 keys to Alexander's success. You know, Nathan, you talked about Trimble having the ability to put up points this year. Well, that's been a struggle for Alexander this week. They're really going to need to get that offense back on track.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but the starting rotation for Alexander's offense hasn't scored in 2 weeks. They got a garbage time touchdown 2 games ago, but like you said, they're really going to need to start putting some points on the scoreboard. I think that really starts with the line. We talk about it all year long about how they're so young and there's been so many injuries, but those excuses only last for so long. If they're going to stay competitive in these last 2 weeks, they're going to need to hold their blocks up front. And then another thing about this offense is that they always find themselves in these 3rd and long situations, and they're really going to need to start putting together some drives and having some better plays on 1st and 2nd down so they don't get in trouble early on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've talked about injuries playing a factor all season long and more so as of late. So, you know, our second key to success, you know, with all those injuries, Nathan, these younger guys are going to have to step up even more than they've already had to the rest of the season. What do you got?
Yeah, definitely. And this Alexander injury report got a little worse this week. Sophomore Ryan Marks, he has to have surgery on his shoulder. He actually had surgery last Tuesday, so he's going to be out for the rest of the year. And then another tough break, senior James Wallace, he has an elbow injury, so he's also going to be out for the rest of the year. So a tough break for Alexander there, but some positives are that some younger guys can step up into those roles. And I think one guy that can step up into that role is Brad McAllister, a freshman. He's worked hard all season long, and he could be a guy to step up. Then I think Michael Kelly, Connor Kimbrough, some of those guys we always talk about, they could step up in there as well.
Absolutely, and really just when you get down to it, Nathan, I mean, to put it simply, Alexander just really needs to get back to the fundamentals.
Yeah, and after the game, we were talking to Tyler Rice, and he said that. They said, guys, we need to get back to the basics. We've heard Coach Saunders say at halftime, hey, we're in the right positions, we're just getting beat. So it's those little things. If they could just tighten up the screws there, they could compete.
And that's right, Nathan. We'll see if it can improve a little bit on the last couple of weeks. And even though this is a non-conference matchup, you know, it's certainly a lot at stake, a lot of bragging rights. So we will see you out there tomorrow night at 7:30.
For any athlete, nothing is worse than a season-ending injury, but what defines their character is how they turn a negative back into a positive. Even though they can't be out on the gridiron with their brothers, 5 Spartan players are finding a new voice on the sidelines.
Friday night against Nelsonville, I took a helmet to my elbow and it dislocated.
Running the ball, got hit, landed on it, snapped my collarbone in half.
Months of lifting, training, and practice for the fall can all be taken away in a matter of a second. Injuries caused an abrupt end of the season for Ryan Marks, Ethan Howes, Trent Llewellyn, and seniors James Wallace and Brandon Wilkinson. Their role in the team is different now, but nothing can take away their fight.
Wilkie, Ethan, okay? These guys came out on the field, and it hurts me. Cause I seen Ethan break his clavicle and still make a block so Chase can score. That's team effort right there.
That made me tear up even though I didn't show it. I felt it and I took it from the heart. Even though I'm not out there with them, I can still feel and be a part of this team.
Despite not being able to compete on the field, their leadership duties remain the same.
You and you get some good blocks out there. Run the ball hard. Come on, guys. We got to catch the ball. We got to focus hard.
I may be done, but like Brad McCollister and all of them, Stone Markins, we can vocalize them and help them guide themselves into their next 2 or 3 years in football.
Things I see is just little things. Once you give them an idea, because we're so close in age that they'll have a better understanding of what you're getting at. You give them a little idea, they'll grasp it and they'll take that idea and wash away those bad things and they'll start clicking to the good things.
Relentless dedication from these 5 players results in extra motivation for the team to keep fighting every single play.
You look over at the sidelines, you see the guys you fought with all summer and the guys that fought with you at least partially through the season, and you feel bad. And you just want, you know they want to be out there, you know they want to be giving it their all. So if you give anything less than your all, it's kind of a disgrace to the guys on the sidelines. It gives you that extra motivation.
This team is truly special because we have a bond. Even though we may not be have the best record, we have a bond that no one else can carry. And it's truly fulfilling that I want to give these seniors a good shot at the end.
Right now, we need to have the level of fun that we were having after two-a-days, before Fed Hop, for this sport, for each other.
Game of your life tonight. Let's go get one, all right? Let's go get one.
The highest level of energy, the highest level of effort, from the beginning to the end of the game.
Well, that about wraps it up for episode 9 of Grind to Shine. Now, during the week, be sure to give us a follow on social media. Our handle is @SpartanEndzone. You don't want to miss our content this week because, Pat, it's hard to believe next week's our final show.
Yeah, it feels weird to say. It seems like we just got started, but we want to hear from you. Next week is our final edition of Penrod's Place. I'll be interviewing the boss, so make sure to post your questions to our page on Saturday. But until then, I'm Patrick Klinger, he's Nathan Wiseman, and we'll see you at the game tomorrow.